I know the title of this video, Why You Shouldn't Start a Podcast, is likely going to rub some people the wrong way, but hear me out. I'm not saying that you shouldn't produce the content that you are producing. I'm sure your content is great. What I'm saying is I will give you a tool that is going to allow you to reach even more people. So I don't think that a podcast is a great tool for everyone, actually. First of all, welcome to Career Conversations, which is a great place if you are just starting a business and want to promote it online, or also if you're an academic and want to promote your work and your research online, especially on Twitter. So I can help you with both of them. So in today's video, I will not only give you 4 reasons why I think that podcasts are taking too much marketing effort and giving you very little returns. I will also give you an alternative that is going to allow you to create almost the same content with a lot less marketing efforts. By the way, if you're looking for more videos on online marketing, then be sure to subscribe to my channel because I have tons of videos on Twitter marketing already and there are a lot more to come. And this brings me to the first issue that I'm having with podcasts, which is the poor search functionality within a podcast app. Even though people are likely looking for educational content and people are likely looking for solutions to their problems, people don't go into the podcast app and type in their specific problem. And actually, I believe that you're offering a lot of solutions to a lot of people's problems, but you're missing out on all of this traffic because you cannot really show people in a targeted way what solutions you are offering. Does it make sense? You only have your podcast bio and your podcast title to show people what kind of content it is that you are providing. But for instance, if you have an awesome episode on how to negotiate your salary after your PhD, people are likely not going to find this episode if they have this specific problem, because they are not typing PhD salary negotiation into the search bar of the podcast app. So this means that you can only be found through word of mouth. If you have appeared on another person's podcast that has a similar audience and you talk about your awesome episode about salary negotiation, then people might get interested. But you see how limited this is and how many people you are not reaching because of, again, the poor search functionality within the podcast app. The second issue is consumer behavior. So I'm a big podcast consumer. I listen to podcasts almost every day. But I might be subscribing to a new podcast maybe once per month. And also, even if a podcast has sparked my interest, likely I'm not going to listen to it. There are actually 5 podcasts, tops, that I'm listening to on a regular basis. And the other podcasts really have to work hard to spark my interest. So even though you might be exposing yourself to a ton of new people, the conversion rate that is actually going to turn people into subscribers is very low. And on top of that, the conversion rate that is going to turn people into listeners is even lower. So you have to work even harder for this. The third issue that I'm having is that you already need to have a large following on other platforms to redirect traffic to your podcast. As we've just discussed, it is really, really difficult to get new subscribers from within the podcast app. So if you want to drive traffic to your podcast, then it needs to come from an external source. This means that you first have to grow either on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever platform it is to drive traffic or a lot of traffic to your podcast. And believe me, promoting a podcast through social media is a ton of effort. I used to have a podcast and eventually decided it is not worth it because it is just too much effort to promote. And I have 23,000 actually followers on Twitter. So it is not effortless, believe me. And likely you've heard of Pat Flynn, if you are watching this video, who does a video on how to get more downloads for your podcast. And he makes it sound easy and effortless and like straightforward and gives you lots of tricks. But at the end of the day, in a nutshell, what he says is you have to get external traffic to go to your podcast. So basically what I just said, he says either through being a guest on your podcast or through sharing it on Insta stories or through your email list. But this requires having a following already or having a huge network of other podcasters that you can leverage. But what he doesn't say is all of the effort that it takes to build those external structures so that you can send traffic to your podcast. And my fourth point is that there are too many podcast apps. This is a problem because it is very, very difficult on those external platforms to then send out one link to your followers and they can just click on it and are at the podcast. For instance, I use Castbox, which is working really, really well for me. But at the same time, not many people are using it. So for me, if I see an interesting podcast episode, I have to go to open my podcast app, type in the podcast manually, and then I will find it. But with how many podcasts am I going to do this? Really, not that many. But even if there weren't that many podcast apps and it would only be iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, there are tons of popular podcast apps. But even if it were only 4, then your entire post would be full of links. So what is again the probability that people are going to click on it if you have to provide tons of links to get to your product? It is too complicated, in my opinion. So what is the alternative to having a podcast? So that we are not too pessimistic. Actually, in my opinion, the alternative is a YouTube channel. And hear me out before you leave, because I know lots of people are not keen on putting their face on the internet. But it is just a lot easier to grow on YouTube than it is as a podcast. And let me also quickly explain why. YouTube is a search engine, which means that people are turning to YouTube to get answers to their questions. So if you are being strategic and are figuring out what people are asking on YouTube, you can provide answers for this. And this way, the search functionality of YouTube is doing all of the work for you. So let me give you a sneak peek into my YouTube analytics so that I can explain what I mean. Okay, so here you can see the video views of my videos of the last 365 days, so of the last year. And you can see there are several spikes of videos or of views. And those spikes come from a strategy that I used to have in the beginning of my YouTubing days, where actually my whole strategy was to drive external traffic to YouTube, which is basically what you would also be doing with your podcast. So what I used to do actually, I send out a tweet early in the morning saying, today I'm doing a video on XYZ. If you're interested in it, then like this tweet or reply to me and I will send you the link straight to in your DMs. And this has worked quite well. You can see on those spikes that, well, I've really patiently sat down and sent out tweets and links manually to, 400, 500 people every time I posted a new video. So you can see I have put a lot of effort into driving external traffic to my YouTube, which resulted in those large spikes. But, you can see it has cost me 1 or 2 hours of my day every week. And then I decided to change my strategy and rely on the search functionality of YouTube. So let me quickly change. Because the thing is, my videos are now, since I started this strategy change in May, you can see that there are not as many spikes anymore per video, but you can see a steady increase in growth and in views. And this is something, at the moment, I'm only tweeting about a new video once per week. So my marketing efforts are maybe 5 minutes per video, maybe 10. And also I have decreased the videos that I'm posting to only twice per month instead of 4 times per month. And still, you can see an increase in views. And this is because my videos have been found through the YouTube algorithm, because I've been optimizing the keywords that I'm putting into the title. And you can do the same. And when we look at traffic source now, you can see that the largest portion of my traffic actually comes from YouTube search. And external traffic is only 5.2%. So the rest of the traffic comes from YouTube, without me ever having to put any effort into promoting the video again. And if we scroll down even further, you can see that 86% of my viewers are not even subscribed, which means that I'm reaching I'm reaching a ton of new people with every video. And let's go to one of my videos to show you what I mean. Okay, here with this video, I really had very low hopes that it might be performing well in the beginning, because you can see that it was underperforming. In the beginning, it was worse than most of my other videos, because actually my followers weren't that interested in the title, how to gain real Twitter followers. But this video I have been so strategic with in the text that I'm using and the title that I'm using. And now you can see, even though the external traffic and in the beginning it was really, really slow, now it is starting to really take off. And there's like even this curve, which makes me hope that there might be some exponential growth in the amount of views. And this is actually true for most of my videos. For instance, for this video, which is not even that long. Look at this, how much it is outperforming most of my other videos. Most of the traffic comes from YouTube search, and it has almost 4,000 views by now. And again, I don't have to do anything, any work to get those views. It is just doing it by itself. If you want to know how to optimize the titles of your YouTube videos, then let me know in the comments below, because I think it is super interesting and is really leaving lots of opportunities on the table if you don't. So one of the reservations that you might have is maybe that you don't have the right equipment. But at this day and age, where we are doing most of our interviews and our interactions on Zoom anyway, you just have to press record on Zoom interviews that you are likely doing for your podcast already, and then upload it to YouTube. You can even still upload it to your podcast. But YouTube with an optimized title is going to give you so many views. And again, if you have a business, please don't make the mistake to try to promote your business with a podcast. A podcast is great to nurture a relationship with an existing audience. It is not great to grow a new audience. So I know it is a trend, but it is a dangerous trend, and you might end up paying someone who is producing and editing your podcast, and they could be spending the exact same time into optimizing and promoting your business. And this actually brings me to a new treat that I have for you. I have put together a PDF with the biggest online marketing mistakes that I am observing at the moment. So in case you are interested in that, then click in the description box below, and there you can find a link to it, and it will be sent straight to your email inbox. So yeah, if you want to know some other online marketing mistakes that lots of people are doing, then yeah, check out the PDF in the description box below. Also, let me know if you think I made a good point, or if you are still preferring the traditional podcast route, or if you are also interested in just uploading the exact same content on YouTube and optimizing your titles, because I think this is really the best way to do it. And if you want more advice on online marketing, or specifically Twitter marketing, then check out this playlist right here. Please like this video, because engagement helps me a lot to rank high in the YouTube algorithm. And I shall see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, I keep forgetting, also follow me on Twitter, because there I give a ton of other advice. Take good care of yourself, and see you in the next video. Bye.